Liberté, égalité, fraternité. Could France have been stupid enough, or if not stupid, let us say unrealistic, utopian, to choose in its national motto two enemy principles? I know that we sometimes show inconsistency when we constantly protest, but have the best healthcare system in the world. Now, really, we have this motto since 1790, so a bit of common sense there. What this side of the house defends is that freedom is not the enemy of equality. And here is why. Admittedly, it is not as simple in practice. When a political project tends towards greater equality, it is sometimes criticized for wanting to limit the freedom of individuals. For example, tax redistribution deprives certain categories of a portion of their income and therefore their freedom to spend. We sometimes hear that if we all become really equal, we would all be identical. We would not have the freedom to distinguish ourselves, to be autonomous in the affirmation of our individuality. Certain political regimes have indeed tended to limit the individual liberties in the name of equality of persons. But we often confuse equality and identity. The equality of the members of society does not consist in having the same tastes, the same characteristics, in the similarity of their actions, in the possession of the same goods. Their equality consists in the fact that they have the same chances to reach an end which they freely define. Basically, it's about all having the same freedom of choice. The car, Fordism, by making access to the car more equal between all, has therefore provided more freedom to an undeniable part of the population. Do not have housing. Are you really free? Freedom can also serve to justify the refusal to participate in collective solidarity. Your freedom stops where others' freedom begin. In reality, there is no freedom in inequality. That is what Rousseau demonstrates in the written letters of the mountain, distinguishing between independence and freedom. When everyone does what one likes, we often do what others do not like, and it's not called a free state. Freedom consists not so much in doing one's will as in not being subjected to that of others. It consists in not submitting the will of others to ours. In other words, to be free is not to do what we want, but to obey a law which we're all equal, I think that democratic people have a natural taste for freedom. They live it to themselves, they seek it, they love it, they see with sorrow that they're removed from it. But they have a passion for equality, ardent, insatiable, eternal, invincible. They want equality in freedom. And if they cannot get it, they still want equality, even in slavery. We understand now at this stage that both cannot work without each other. But why then, even when facing these evidences, people still argue against it? I have now to introduce the notion of circles. The mind lives in a vicious circle. We create the problems ourselves, and then we try to solve them. That is what is said by philosopher Swami Prajnanpad. Whatever meaning to a word we assign it, first we must define it. There are many nuances and gradation in the definitions of liberty and equality. We will all agree that these are abstract notions. And in order to debate it, it is imperatively necessary to associate concrete facts with it. And whatever one opposes, socialism and capitalism, we tell ourselves here the extremes, the total absence of balance. This is a fundamental problem. We say it's impossible. We're taught it's impossible, so we will teach it to growing children. They themselves will repeat the cycle, impossible, impossible. Our deepest beliefs must be able to be questioned, even more when they're so Manichaean. Why do you think it's impossible? Because you're relying on situations, examples, countries, where it is people who themselves deeply taught it was impossible to associate freedom and equality. You do not rely on people who have tried and who really understood what it was. You must have questioning. This side of the house has. It acknowledges that in some very concrete, well-defined examples, this motion is fair. Yes, I pay more taxes, I'm less free. But this completely neglects what the notions of freedom and equality deeply represent. Break this vicious circle. Stop this binarity. Equality and freedom, freedom and equality, hand in hand, has, does, and will benefit people. Thank you.
Okay. Before I begin, I would like to invoke my home field advantage and tell any of my students who may be in attendance that you do have to laugh at my jokes. Good. Okay. So it's probably fair to say that most philosophers agree that there's a tension between freedom and equality. But that's about all philosophers agree on when it comes to the relationship between these two concepts. So they disagree as to how much tension there really is. So are we talking about the kind of tension that you might have between two rival armies poised for war, or is it more like the kind of tension